am I? I'm Josh Sober. I am many things. Some people would say that I am selfish, stubborn, or blunt. Sometimes I am these things, but that's who I am. I enjoy the outdoors more than the average American, and because I enjoy the outdoors so much, I know a bit about how to live out in the woods. The woods is probably my biggest hobby. When I say the woods is my biggest hobby, I mean anything that has to do with them. That can be airsoft, building a dam in the creek, hiking, camping, fishing, climbing trees, or just being a boy. I also enjoy running and other sports. The woods has had the largest effect on my life, who I am now, and who I want to be, and my personal legend. Sometimes you have to learn the habits of certain snakes or other critters, or maybe be able to tell how much daylight you have left, or if a squirrel is full grown. In the event that it is not and you kill it, two negative things have just happened to you. Number one, you could have gotten a fuller meal. Number two, it might not have reproduced, which would mean something would have been taken out, but nothing would have been put back. The things and skills that I learned in the woods can be applied to the modern world in all of its complicated quirks. The types of learning tests that we took in Intro to Business and Tech said that I am a very hands-on person, and since the woods are not at all virtual, this makes sense. My family is of the utmost importance to me. My mother grew up in Gainesville, Georgia. My father was born in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, but moved to Georgia when he was 9 because of his father's work. He spent the rest of his childhood in Snellville, Georgia. My mom went to UGA. My father went to Georgia Tech. They met in college. The man that arranged them to meet was Philip Davis. He later died of skin cancer. My middle name is Davis because of him. My father and mother both grew up in Republican homes. I am a Republican as a result of this. I strongly believe in what this country was founded on. Neither of my parents grew up in Christian homes. They both became Christians later in life, and as a result, I am a Christian. My mother died in January of 2013, which left my father to be a single parent of 2. He has done very well. He has taught me a lot of things. He's a very good role model. He has this saying, "Your failure to prepare does not constitute for an emergency on my part." It is awful to hear this, but when I do, I realize the truth in it and how wise it is. I have a papa that owns Holland's Record Service. He's been married 7 times. He's very experienced with cars and very experienced with women. He's a very good man, and I hope he continues to live a good life. My father is probably the most influential person in my life. He's always been real with me, but at the same time he's been positive. He always enjoys having fun. I've picked up a lot of complicated vocabulary from him, which has helped me when talking to smart and older people. He has taught me to be a respectful, disciplined young man. My papa, my grandfather on my mom's side, has taught me many things as well. He owns a towing company named Holland's Record Service. He probably knows every man in Gainesville over the age of 60. We could be going out to eat, and we would hear someone behind us yell, "Holland, is that you?" He'd turn around his suntan body and reply something like, "Dewey, I ain't seen you since the cops got you in '83 when we were racing on Browns Bridge." They would carry on a conversation about getting old, cars, and how good the biscuits at Longstreet were. He always says that you can never have enough of his so-called treasures, which are really junk cars he's collected over the years. He bought 2 fire trucks with extending ladders just because he saw them on eBay and thought he'd like to have them. But what my papa loves more than his treasures and all of his friends is his family. We used to live very close to him and other close relatives, and almost every night in the summer we would all eat dinner together. The table would be crowded with green beans, okra, corn, lima beans, squash, and watermelon, all grown from the garden just outside my bedroom window. My papa would say that he's learned me a lot. Naturally, I yearn to be in the woods. I feel at home in the creek, bent over looking for crawfish or salamanders. Sadly, I have had to make the best of staying inside the vast majority of the day. It is not as bad as if there were no people to keep you company, but being alone with the animals in a campfire will trump that any day. We are a very healthy family, which helps being outdoor oriented. Sickly people don't tend to venture out into the woods all too often. My personal legend is the outdoors. As a small child, I dreamed of becoming an Indian. I wanted to live on the prairie in North Dakota. I wanted to live off the land and stay in a teepee. I dreamed of riding my horse across the vast grass, chasing a bison and shooting it in the eye with my arrow. I would then fantasize that I would wear the skin as a trophy, and I would be respected for it. I also went through a phase about a year long where I wanted to be a professional nomad in the city of Gainesville and spend my days visiting my friends at their job and scavenging for food. There is still a part of me that wants this to be a reality. If I was to become this professional nomad, an obstacle that would be difficult to overcome is the day-to-day chore of finding food and water. Contrary to popular belief, food is actually very hard to acquire when you don't know what you're doing. Fortunately, if you do know what you're doing, you have a good chance. There will always be times where it seems there is no more food left where you live or roam. Being nomadic, transportation would be tricky. My solution to that would be a reliable bicycle. A good mountain bike made by Trek can cost anywhere from $400 to $8,000. I would probably get one in the $600 to $700 range. Bikes at this level require little to no maintenance, which is ideal when you live off of what you can find. Lower end bikes will break down more easily. If you break down in the wrong part of the neighborhood, that can be bad news for you. And like my dad always says, the fun stops when somebody gets hurt. Living wouldn't cost very much, if anything at all, but that's the challenge of it. A work of literature that has inspired me to pursue my personal legend is the book My Side of the Mountain. A quote from this book is about lighting a fire in the woods. I must say this now about that first fire. It was magic. Out of dead tinder and grass and sticks came alive a warm light. It cracked and snapped and smoked and filled the woods with brightness. It lighted the trees and made them warm and friendly. It stood tall and bright and held back the night. Dean Craig George, My Side of the Mountain. Fire is strange. It can bring death, pain, or happiness. If you treat it right, it will treat you right. It is an excellent ally to have any time of the year. It is a tool, not a toy. But playing with tools can be fun.
Are you kidding me?